Tonight we have Eric, Chris, Ferox, and Taylor. And tonight's main topic for discussion, possibly the only one depending on how long we go for, is EA. Surprise, surprise, given the headlines, I know.
Let's face it, it's going to be the only topic of conversation, not because we don't have time, it's just because it's the only thing that we really need to focus on right now.
They've given us a lot of material to work with.
They gave us too much, dude, what better birthday present could I ask for?
Of EA, the most notorious a good Star Wars game that had good practices. But how do you mess up so badly that you hit that many dislikes? It was almost 700,000 dislikes, right? By the end of it.
Okay, see, I'm gonna get this out of my system now.
Go for it.
EA used to make good games. It was so great.
I'm gonna pull up their original mission statement. Hold on.
Oh god, this will be good.
You keep talking.
But no, it's just man, you need Road Rash.
Give me a couple of games that they made in the golden era.
Wait, okay, let me see which ones I know off the top of my head. I mean, I know them, but which ones come to me?
Okay, I have the statement up
whenever
you're
Road Rash games. They made The Haunting starring Poltergeist. They made Desert Strike and Jungle Strike.
The original Sims, which was absolutely incredible.
Right, I didn't even leave the Genesis era yet. You're way ahead of me.
I'm just thinking favorite EA game.
No, that's what I'm saying. We didn't even leave the Genesis era, and I came up with 5 solid games. That aged, in my opinion, pretty well. And then you break out the fucking Sims, which is totally
the Monster
valid.
House.
Right, I think something we'll touch on probably later is that it's the issue isn't even that the games can't be good either. You know what I mean? The framework is obviously there. Otherwise, they wouldn't get away. They wouldn't even have the momentum.
You just put
shit like they're doing. I mean, we will kind of have to explain what we're getting at if people haven't heard about it. But
you have the talent on hand. You just no longer have the mentality. There.
Yeah.
It's the
statement.
I just want to say one thing. Is the long story short, the whole situation is they make a great game but hide everything behind a paywall, even though you pay $80 up front for the game.
Right.
So that's a general gist of what's going on. And Chris, go ahead with Ferox, go ahead with our mission statement.
EA's mission statement from an instruction manual, printed because that's how old this is. We are an association of electronic artists who share a common goal. We want to fulfill the potential of personal computing. The main feature of this post, what was once written by those working in electronic arts before they became nothing more than EA. There's some commentary in here, I'll try and skip past it. Can a computer make you cry? Right now, no one knows.
Yes.
This is partly because many could consider the very idea frivolous, but it's also whoever successfully answers this question must first have answered several others. Why do we cry? Why do we laugh, or love, or smile? What are the touchstones of our emotions? Until now, the people who have asked such questions tended not to be the same people who ran software companies. Instead, they were writers, filmmakers, painters, musicians. They were, in the traditional sense, artists. We're about to change that tradition. The name of our company is Electronic Arts.
That is the latest shit.
But
oh, there's more.
I don't know. I don't think it's lame.
It's
it's heartfelt,
cute,
and this was from a company that was not that big at the time.
Yeah.
The humble beginnings.
Oh, okay, that's right. You did say this is the older.
This is the original mission statement, 20 plus years ago.
Right. I'm sorry. See, I'm associating it with
current EA
they're pulling now, and it's oh, you can a computer make you cry? Yeah, if it tries to rob me of my life savings, it can make me cry.
It's
I'll cry at gunpoint, sure.
It's like Pepperidge Farm, but digital.
God.
EA remembers for $14.99.
Delicious.
Let's see, where was I?
There's more.
Someone's breaking up.
Dude, I was gonna say, did anyone else hear that?
Hey, Chris, I think.
Stop talking.
Chris, you turning into a robot.
Sorry, I was launching a game to stream.
Oh, that's
okay.
Entirely on me. So anyway, continue.
I'll keep going. We are a new association of electronic artists united by a common goal, to fulfill the enormous potential of the personal computer. In the short term, this means transcending its present use as a facilitator of unimaginative tasks, and a medium for blasting aliens. In the long run, however, we can expect a great deal more. These are wondrous machines we have created, and in them can be seen a bit of their makers. It is as if we have invested in them with the image of our mind, and through them we are learning more and more about ourselves. We learn, for instance, that we are more entertained by the involvement of our imagination than by passive viewing and listening. We learn that we are better taught by experiences than by memorization. And we learn that the traditional distinctions, the ones that are made between art and entertainment and education, don't always apply. In short, we are finding that the computer can be more than just a processor. I know, good Freudian twist. An interactive tool that can bring people's thoughts and feelings closer together, perhaps closer than ever before. And while 50 years from now its creation may seem no more important than the advent of motion pictures or television, there is a chance it will mean something more. Something along the lines of a universal language of ideas and emotion. Something like a smile. The first publication of electronic arts are now available. We suspect you'll be hearing a lot about them. Some of them are games like you've never seen before, and get more out of your computer than other games ever have. Others are harder to categorize, and we like that. Watch us. We're providing a special environment for talented, independent software artists. It's a supportive environment in which big ideas are given more room to grow, and some of America's most respected software artists are beginning to take notice. We think our current work reflects the very special commitment. And though we are few in number today, and apart from the mainstream mass software marketplace, we are confident that both time and vision are on our side. Join us. We see farther.
Dude, okay.
They seem so good back in the day.
No,
Yeah.
that is like the perfect mission statement. Also, Taylor, I am echoing.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Please use headphones.
That is some vintage, like, Apple Think Different type
Yeah,
statement
right?
there.
The thing is, like, it made sense. Like, first of all, the whole, like, we may be small teams. Like, dude, on the back of the Road Rash manual, the whole team fits in a photo.
Yeah.
And, like, you know, they said, like, some of our games kind of defy explanation. I mean, you had, again, I'm thinking Genesis era, because that was when this was written, this mission statement. You know, you had The Haunting, which was like, you play as a ghost that haunts a house. That wasn't like, it was puzzle action, kind of. And you had Road Rash, which was like combat racing. And like, this was at a time where it was like, you're lucky you got a platformer. Like, they really were doing shit right. And then they weren't. Like,
See,
somewhere along the line.
It's kind of like the quote, like, either you die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become a villain.
Yeah.
Kind of where they're at
they
right now.
become a villain.
Yeah.
Oh no, easily. And like, I guess to like kick things off into like where, you know, we're going with all this. It's like there have been stories going around about, well, not even stories, just like literal comment threads. Like the EA is putting themselves out into the community and addressing what people are saying about the new Battlefront game, the new Star Wars Battlefront, where they are locking characters behind paywalls and saying, well, no, it's totally realistic. You know, if you don't want to pay for them, you can just earn the in-game currency. But isn't it like, it's something like 40 or 60 hours to earn one character? And
Yeah.
that's if you're really good at the game.
Well, actually, apparently, your skill doesn't change how much you get.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I misread something that someone said about, like, oh wow, this is my reward for doing really well, you know. So okay, that makes more sense.
They also they have been locking people out of earning credits through like certain, like, I don't remember which play mode it is, but like you can only earn X amount of credits per amount of time.
I think it was arcade mode.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, it seems like a very free-to-play, like, fatigue meter.
Yeah.
Yeah, because somebody, one of the comments that, it pretty much lines up with what I think, is that they're like, no, can you technically earn it? Yeah, but what you guys are really banking on is that we'll get sick of trying, and we'll just say, fuck it, it's $5,
And,
Yeah,
And
exactly.
over time that adds up, and
like, if your friend's playing, like, Darth Vader, you can get jealous and be like, I want to play Darth Vader.
yeah, and wasn't it EA? Please, someone fact check me on this, because I don't want to be that asshole. But like, I'm pretty sure they're the ones. They filed a patent recently.
That was Activision.
That's Activision.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. But it's still worth mentioning. Activision filed a patent about a progression system in an online-based multiplayer game that encouraged jealousy.
Well,
through random drops.
So the way that it works,
publisher specific, it is able to be paid for usage.
Yeah,
So,
right.
it's not something they
I shouldn't TLDR this. That's my bad.
No.
Yeah, it's an algorithm that will purposely match you with people who have paid content that you will want that makes them better.
That is so messed up. Holy
Yes.
shit.
and it's
Yeah,
also
so basically you end up saying, "Ooh, I want that. Why did he beat me? He has that cool gun. Oh, I can pay for it."
I'll do that.
Yeah, I don't even need to bring the financial motive into there. They're just deliberately mismatching different skill levels and gear levels.
Yeah, like right, even without the finances, that's just mean.
If you look at what they're doing for the new World War II game, like they have achievements
Yes.
for watching people opening up crates.
Right, like they really want you to fucking see this shit. And you know, that's scary because now this is two companies that are really suspicious, but I
Two
think
big companies.
EA is kind of taking it. I think EA is taking it here, especially because like now they're even trying to save face in public, and it's like
Yeah, EA's kind of like in the position of like, hey, what are you gonna do about it? You're gonna complain?
yeah.
That's not gonna sell
Well, and
us.
then they're sending their PR lackeys out, and they're saying like, "Hey man, we're not trying to hurt anybody," and we all know it's bullshit. Like,
Mhm.
and
You know,
I
for the
like
sake
to
of
give
keeping
people
this
benefit
from
of the
getting
doubt.
one-sided, I'll play devil's advocate.
Right. Okay.
At this point, the game's already been set. It's gone gold. It is shipping out to any place that hasn't already done their like midnight launches. The idea of them drastically changing things other than just an unlock cost is not possible at this time. They would
Yeah.
have to put on a lot of development time, and they would have to. Like people are saying, they don't want a loot box system at all, but that's intrinsically tied to the progression system. So they would have to overhaul the leveling system whole cloth, and the idea of unlocking characters, gear, perks, etc. that have to be done from the ground up.
Do you think at this point it would just be? And I'm not being facetious either. Do you think at this point it would just be more worth it for them to pull the plug on the game and just like accept it as a loss?
See, like,
Or do you think I think it's going to be making enough money for it to be worth it, and from here on out they should probably just focus, if they care, of course, they should just focus on the next game.
see, like,
Be the one that brings back faith.
like it's hard to say because like I'm still like in love with the old Star Wars Battlefront 2 from the classic era of Xbox One, I believe it was, right?
Well,
Like-
careful what you say with
Yeah.
Xbox One.
But like it was, oh yeah, true. Oh man,
Yeah.
the first Xbox. Let's put it
The
that way.
original Xbox, yeah.
The OG
Xbox
Xbox. Yeah. But yeah, I was like in love with that game, and nothing was like hidden behind a paywall. Like I played that game for like hours with my friends, and like if they had a new map pack, I would pay for that. But like,
Oh, yeah. Well, because that's actually content that was not like, okay. One of the weirder examples of an expansion pack from before DLC, the Dynasty Warriors game, starting with I believe it was 3, if not 4. No, I think it was 3. They did Dynasty Warriors Extreme Legends, which was extra missions. Like sometimes like a different mode would be in it.
Yeah,
And
they would
like,
add RPG elements. They would
Right.
have other branching paths, and it was either 3 or 4. They started doing empires as well, so you get
Yeah.
3 versions for each numbered entry.
but the thing is, it's a game and 2 offshoot games. You're not paying for like, it wouldn't really be like DLC, so to speak. It's more like, hey, this is a half sequel. So
They wouldn't charge full price for it though. Half.
no, they would not.
Didn't they?
No,
Am I mistaken?
Dynasty Warriors would be like $50, and the one that the side games that came out were $20 to $30, I think.
good guy
So,
Dynasty
you know,
Warrior.
No, exactly, Ko. I did it right, and you're looking at this pay model that is becoming really popular with loot boxes, and not to rip off another commenter's sentiment, but I saw one guy said like, if I cared about Pride, or if I didn't care about Pride 10 years ago, I could put in a cheat code. Now I have to put in my credit card information. Like, kinda true, and things get really dicey when you're competing against other players.
Yeah.
It's fine to tell me like, oh, you have to unlock this character for single player, you have to suffer until then. Well, that's fine because the game will be designed, hopefully, so
To
that
balance.
a single player can go without that character until they can unlock them, or like a mode that's necessary for them will be locked. Whereas now it's like, well, you know, if you don't want to get spanked by Vader, fucking buy him. Like, what are you waiting for?
Yeah, well, if you want,
go ahead.
I was gonna say, but or like going off what you said, or if you want to spank people with Vader, buy him.
Yeah, buy him.
I was reading a Polygon article about this just now.
Okay.
Just like an interesting thing at the end of this article. It says EA is showing that it doesn't understand what in the game has value, what doesn't, and what anything should cost. So what happens to the players who worked hard in a certain area to unlock something only to have EA devalue it the next day? Because they did make a price change, but it was just a price scaling. They didn't actually adjust anything.
Right.
A drastic price change as well. We were talking like
75%
difference in time investment. If you were going for like Luke or Vader.
Right. So no, that's a really good point. So the people who already, you know, financially acquired them, what does that mean for their purchase? Like, when did you have to start worrying about a digital item having like devaluation issues?
Yeah,
and
right.
Of course, you know, if you buy a game digitally when it comes out and then it goes on sale, that's one thing. I get it. But like, now we're talking about like, if people complain and it's unfair and you buy something that maybe you ethically should not have purchased in the first place, well, what happens if it becomes discounted or they do away with the system? Like, you gotta suck it up. And I would assume legally that's all taken care of in EA's contracts. If it's anybody who deserves the money on that payroll, it's the lawyers.
I was gonna say, pretty much any online free-to-play game, especially card games, do have that economic concern, for lack of a better word.
Yes.
Whereby, we'll use Hearthstone as an example, where cards that get their effects changed or mechanics completely overhauled are able to be fully refunded for their crafting cost. And this doesn't necessarily make up for the fact that you're going to be losing a tool in your arsenal, but it is some sort of means of consumer consideration.
Okay.
There's a lot of things I think Hearthstone does well, there's a lot of things I think Hearthstone does poorly. But for the sake of this argument, you have card games like, I'm not sure about Gwent, Shadowverse, anything like that, but they are taking into consideration the fact there is a set value, and they are willing to not modify the prices, but to give it back to the consumer anytime, just so they get back what they put in.
Exactly, and I don't know if it would be easier or harder with a card game, because at least you have a very, very, like, well-known real-world equivalent.
It's not like we're getting a modification along the lines of, let's say, downgrading a legendary to an epic, where there's an inherent 75% loss.
Right.
Well,
we could just compare them.
Before I forget, I want to bring this up. You were saying before how like this devalues certain characters, or devalues your time in the game or your experience of the game.
Right.
One of the games that actually really worked with that was Monster Hunters. The director said like Monster Hunters could be like a really big game with loot crates, just because the whole point of the game is you running around carving up.
It's a grind.
It's a grind, yeah, hunting down monsters for that really rare item. But the director said like, hey, that's like the biggest part about the game is the satisfaction of, hey, I killed this dragon 80 times to get this one bone, and now I can make the strongest weapon in the game. So,
right, like you wouldn't be in his opinion enjoying the actual game
if
by
you were
just paying for it.
Yeah.
They're trying to incentivize the rewards, not the actual gameplay.
Right.
Like when people talk about Warframe and how that game has a constant grind to it. The fact is that the grind is the central gameplay focus.
Yeah.
The unlocking is almost secondary.
Yeah, like there's a lot of games where the grind is actually not bad. And I find it a lot of fun. Like, I'm a big Monster Hunters fan. Like, I spent like hours hunting one dragon over and over again and like not getting tired of it.
Well, I'll use a couple indie games as an example. One of the things I loved about Isaac, you know, that game cost me over time buying like 3 versions and DLC, like half the cost of a, you know, AAA game.
Mm-hmm.
And half the fun in it for me was like, oh hey, I unlocked this new item, what's it gonna do? Or hey, there's this new like challenge I have unlocked that I can beat, like let's see what it does. You know, what's the point of the challenge? And like I grew up playing a lot of games where things were, there was no DLC and things were locked behind, challenges or, gameplay walls. And it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of
fun. And like, you felt good for being a challenge. You're like, yeah, I'm much better now.
Yeah, and I feel like that did, like, contribute to me getting better at these games. And now I get it that there's people who, they have money but no time, they have time but no money. But, like, I don't know, man. The gameplay is still the point of you playing, and I understand it. I really am not a fan of loot box systems. I wish we didn't have them. But if we're gonna have them, I'd rather them be like Overwatches, where it's like, hey man, all the content in the game is free once you buy it. If we release a new hero, you'll get them. If we release a new map, you'll get it. And if you don't have the time to grind out levels, okay, dude, buy loot boxes and, we'll try and get you the skins you want. But
when they also offer with the arcade mode, if you get a total of 9 winning games in arcade, you get 3 free boxes, which is
right. And it's pretty like low time investment. Like
you can knock it out in like quick. 2 hours if you really want to, or you can like I like to save mine up and like do them throughout the week as like a mini reward if I don't have enough time to play normally throughout the week.
Right.
Or if you're bad like me, never get them.
Oh.
Poor costume library.
Yeah.
It's alright, do mystery heroes and hope your team gets a carry build.
Yep.
But yeah, like honestly, I like that a lot of indie games have fun unlocks because it adds mystery and intrigue to a game without just being like, hey man, here's everything. Like, I mean, and there's stuff that, ooh, that was bad. There's stuff that I acknowledge, like I admired growing up that may not be as good now that I'm an adult. Like, I thought it was cool playing through Tekken Tag Tournament and unlocking all the characters. Now, if I bring a fighting game home and I'm hyped to play it with my friends, I don't want to have to unlock my character. Like, but give me costumes to unlock, There's ways to do it.
I will say, like, unlocking Ness in Super Smash Brothers, like the original one for 64, was like the golden moment of like, there's one character left, I don't know how to get him, and then one day you get him, you're like, oh my god, this is the greatest day.
It's satisfying, but that shows you how awesome unlocks can be. They're replacing that dopamine rush with financial incentive instead of gameplay incentive. That's like, it's perfectly, in my opinion, like it could be a little like creepy if you think about it on a sci-fi level, but like perfectly fine to be like, yeah, like I like the little rush I get from unlocking something in a game. Like I did something, it was fun. But who cares if I paid $5 and got the character? That's called shopping.
Yeah.
This discussion lends itself to another topic that I'm not sure if we were doing it tonight or another time, but
no, we could go wherever from this because I think we covered the basic.
Right. I just wanted to see if Taylor wanted to weigh in on anything in particular before I go off on one.
No, not really. Just the fact that like I think it's pretty ridiculous they gave like a veiled apology by reducing the amount of credits you need to get these characters, but also reduce the amount that you earn. So yeah, they really, in the end, did absolutely nothing.
That's just a smack in the face.
Well,
exactly.
We might do a part 2 to this topic also because they're doing an AMA on Reddit.
Ooh, fun.
Okay.
So it's basically going to be like
a nightmare.
A couple hours of literal verbal abuse by internet strangers, but
I'm sure
we'll get a lot out
of the funeral march playing on loop.
Yeah. But hey, what were you going to say as a small possible topic change?
This leads me to the way that progression systems are changing in games, and I'm trying to pinpoint an exact time at which this change happened. Like, there is this... We previously mentioned that the gameplay loop is now focused on the reward, not the gameplay itself. The grind is not what's meant to be most engaging, it's meant to lead to the reward, which is most engaging. And there's this whole psychological, even neurochemical analysis side to it, but I'm not smart enough to even try that one. What I'm trying to say is from a gameplay design perspective, where games are now focusing on randomized rewards to a tremendous extent. And I played Diablo 2 for how many hundreds of hours. I know the value of randomized loot when it comes to appealing to players. But we also have to get to the point where consumers are not consistently getting what they expect, whether it is the pricing scheme of these unlockable characters, which are the primary objective of playing, and just how they acquire those characters. Like, even if you play as best as humanly possible, you could be top 10 on the leaderboards for years straight, and you may just have a bad string of luck with your loot boxes, so you have a harder time unlocking them and affording them than, let's say, somebody who, on a whim, drops $10 and they automatically get the unlocks they wanted.
Right.
This progression system it requires the crafting components from the loot boxes, where you need duplicates and you need new items. Nothing is useless, but everything is of a varying usage. Even with smaller scale, not indie games, but very niche games. I'm going to use a fan service game for an example. Senran Kagura Peach Beach Splash. A Splatoon knockoff that gets by on Jiggle Physics.
What?
Hey man, the cooking rhythm game was fun.
Okay.
Yeah, the Dynasty Warriors games are not terrible, but here's the thing. The newest game is entirely based on a loot box progression system. It's all booster packs. And once you get those booster packs, you have like extra cards you can use for crafting materials, common, rare, etc. And that's how you level your characters, that's how you improve your gear, that's how you do everything except unlock new characters. So if you want to play on higher difficulties, you want to do challenge missions, you have to use the booster packs. And I don't know if it's better or worse than past games where they had the Millennium Festival like tokens for just playing a lottery, but even then, still randomized, still no guarantee that you'll get anything usable. And these progression systems are now, they're making it so that games are not remotely predictable.
Yeah, and I don't think predictability, like, I think that's a word, it's a fitting word. I think it comes off worse than we intended to, because I remember, so many times when I'd be playing a game and I'd be like, okay, this thing in the in-game shop, nothing DLC or anything, like, in-game shop. It was like, all right, well, I need like 10,000 gold to buy that outfit, and I earn an average of like 500 per match. So how many matches do I? And it was fun to see like how many matches I would have to grind out. Like, not every game did it perfectly, but at least I could like strategize. I wasn't thrown in on my own and just, all right, well, good luck, nerd.
See, like, the funny thing is, my first experience with something like that was in Pokemon. Because in Pokemon, I believe Red and Blue, you had to grind out like 999 credit casino tokens to get Porygon, and that was the only way of getting him. So either you sat there, gambled all day, or just pumped in money into the game. Not like actual money, like their money into the game to get the currency to buy him. But like, it's kind of like the proto version of what's going on right now.
Yeah, and like, there were, I mean, even without like a currency system, even just stuff like, I don't know, like, I'll use, like, I guess a fighting game as an example. Like, beat arcade mode as this character without continuing. Like, that's something you can plan for.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, you could go into training mode and make sure you know this guy's moves. And, with randomized systems, it's even if it's not, I mean, I don't even really like loot boxes if it's free. Like, you're just telling me, like, you might get it, you might not, and there's nothing you can do about it. Like, you don't give me any goals to achieve, like you were saying before. Like unlocks are often things that you could say, oh, well, I did this. The unlock isn't just an outfit or, like, a character that you like. It's also a symbol that, hey, look what I was able to do. I have this. Just the fact that I'm playing as this character shows that I did something.
I really think that, like, part of what it comes down to, like, like you guys were saying, like, looking back on the progression of games, like, suddenly it's like, I look back and it's like, when did games, like, turn into just, like, loot boxes and, like, gambling and, like, the lottery system? But it seems like it's so influenced by mobile games, which is absolutely ridiculous.
And it's really funny because this isn't an I told you so, because nobody in here has doubted me on it or anything, but like
I've doubted you from day one.
Yeah, dude, magazines and shit were like, wow, are smartphones the future of mobile? You know, back in like the mid 2000s.
Yeah.
They're like, is it the future of gaming? And I'm like, no, it's not. Like, I mean, of gaming, but you're kind of being a little too specific here. There's plenty of places and plenty of spots in life for games. You don't have to make it all a special way. But you know, more people are like, oh my god, like everyone's playing games on their phones now. What's this about? And it's like, no, give it a rest. Give it a rest. It's not that big a deal. And here we are. All the mobages that rely on gambling.
We have one mobile handheld platform getting any widespread acceptance other than phone.
Well, and at least a mobile platform like the Game Boy or something was still a platform. It wasn't just, hey, you happen to do shit on this device every day. You might as well put games on it too. Like, to me, mobile gaming has always been a cheapened experience, except in very special situations.
Yeah, and now it seems like they're going further away from that specialization. The 3DS is looking like it's on the way out. We've already gotten the new iteration, which is just literally titled New, thanks to Nintendo for the clever naming scheme.
Yeah, right.
And they're talking about this being the last Pokemon game to come out there. That is one of their biggest franchises.
Really?
Yeah, yep.
Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon are the last Pokemon games, like main entries, that are going onto that platform. Everything else is going to be Switch or other.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay.
And honestly, like, it is disappointing because, like you said, it's like, it's so successful, but at the same time, like, it does have to end at some point, and I think, like, they should, if they're going to end it at all, they should do it before they make a bad game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and the funny thing is, I'm not sad because, like, I don't think Nintendo will be able to pull it off. It's like, you know what? Okay, yeah, they have the Switch now, and it's a mobile platform if you want it to be, and, like, whatever. Like, if they decide to focus on it, I can't stop them. But for me, this sounds so lame, the DS was, like, the last bastion of, like, older Nintendo
See, like, for that's... I was gonna say, like, for the DS era, like, my jam was the Castlevania series. Those were my favorite.
Exactly, like, they were making Castlevania games, and, like, I mean, Konami's a different story on that now, but, like, you know, they remastered and re-released for the first time in America Glory of Heracles, which was, like, a Famicom classic, and, like, they made it for the DS. It was, like, their second Super Nintendo. And the new 3DS, like, yeah, they had fancy games with good graphics and stuff, but I feel like they still, at heart, they had a lot of games that were very, like, sensibilities from, like, the Super Nintendo era. And I don't mean that in a way that, like, games were, you know, only better back then. Plenty of newer games I like, but, I mean, there was a balance between, if you wanted Nintendo's newer concepts, you had, like, the Wii U, the Wii, whatever. And then the DS was kind of like their, you know, like I said, their SNES 2.0. Kind of how the Game Boy Advance was. And now with, like, mobile gaming, you know, kind of forcing out handhelds, that could change that in a way.
I want to get your opinion on this. So, back to, like, the loot crates. What do you think about the granddaddy of all of them, TF2? Because I played a lot of TF2. I have 700.
Ads could ruin the gaming world,
right? Like, so, well, I think it's
that scene from SpongeBob where it's just they have Smitty Werben Jagerman Jensen's hat, and Mr. Krabs being approached by people with, like, increasingly ludicrous amounts of money.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's actually 100% accurate.
Yeah.
But, like, so I have 756 hours in that game.
Wow.
I play a lot of TF2, and, like, I think the biggest difference between TF2 and, like, let's say Overwatch with, like, the economy is that TF2 turned their loot crates into an economy. Like, you can actually trade the keys for items or trade the crates for items, depending on what series they were.
See, I think that's actually a really important point, so put a pin in that, but continue.
Yeah, but, like, I feel like that point alone made it so that TF2 wasn't, like, patient zero of the loot crate pandemic.
I can point you towards patient zero if you want, but it's not in gaming.
What is it?
Card games. Like,
Sure,
not
okay.
digital card games, print card games.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Magic the
that's
Gathering,
why I hate trading
Yu-Gi-Oh.
card games.
Like, I have a high tolerance for loot boxes compared to what most people would expect from me, because
Right.
I dropped how many hundreds of dollars, if not thousands, on booster packs.
Yu-Gi-Oh,
Yeah, but
the thing
Pokemon.
Yeah, I still have like 10k of those cards somewhere around here.
Lovely.
And that's number of cards, not dollar value. I don't even want to think about that. The thing is, the thing is that there was a marketplace where you could get specifically what you were looking for.
Yeah.
The prices would be gouging you to hell and back, but the thing is that there was an objective that you could seek out. There was randomization and there was objectives.
Right.
And-
right.
And for a lot of people, like, you know, this kind of like lottery system and loot box system in video games is like their first experience with it. So I can see why it's really infuriating. But like you said, for card games,
I
this
feel
is
like a lot of
something
people
that
don't
you're
make that
used to.
connection. Yeah, and like,
Yeah.
come on, who doesn't know? Like, even like you know people who didn't grow up with Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon trading card games being popular. Magic the Gathering is still really popular.
Yeah.
A lot of
Yeah.
younger kids know what Magic is,
Yeah.
and you know. I understand Hearthstone's a bad example because it's digital, so they might associate it with gaming loot boxes. But everyone knows Magic the Gathering, and Magic the Gathering is absolutely a booster chasing game.
And just think about how they go through seasons where, like, if you want to play the current format, the past, like, 20 years are out the window.
Yeah.
So if you want to be on par with everyone else, like, I'm feeling this burn with Hearthstone right now. Like, if you want to be on par with everyone else, you better shell out that cash.
Yeah, and one thing I do want to say about the TF2 thing is I don't know if TF deserves all the blame or not. I largely ignored it when it was out because I wasn't a PC player, so I had no really good way of playing TF.
Yeah, it was abysmal on console.
Oh no, exactly. I bought the orange box for Portal, and I was like, wow, can't play this game.
Yep.
So, you know, as far as what you said though about it being, you know, it bred an economy, I think that's one of the hearts of the issue here, is that, you know, obviously we're dealing with a big beast here if it has multiple hearts, but like
It's an octopus of some sort.
God.
Sever the heads, seal the wounds.
Exactly. But you know, when you can say that your game has an economy, then the game is not any longer a standalone product. There is a product within it that people desire
It
that
becomes
is
a platform
monetarily
rather than the
worth
product itself.
something.
Like,
Yes.
I
And
believe
even if it doesn't become the platform, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but the problem with that is not only does it potentially outweigh the main platform, even if it doesn't outweigh the main platform, you're still creating something that isn't just, hey, pay for our game and enjoy what's in it.
Like, but I feel like it was a little different just because, like, you could actually trade with someone. Like, I'm not correct. Am I correct that in Overwatch you can't trade with other people?
No, you
can't
cannot.
use it
Okay.
to construct them if you want to. You have to get a duplicate only.
Yeah, because, like,
But
Only way you
see,
can get rid of something.
that's the problem, though, is that
There-
if you can trade with people, you don't have to earn things yourself. And I know that, like, certain people have a very valid, in my opinion, argument that, well, I don't really have the time to unlock all these things. That's fine, but, like, that's also just kind of how it goes, you know? Not everybody has time to do everything. Like, I don't have a ton of time for games nowadays. I've put a lot of things on my backlog. And you know what? I try and find ways to get to it eventually because I care. And I know it's not that simple for everybody, but, you know, I think it's a way better option than letting games get dumbed down to just the point where it's like, well, instead of assets in our games, these are now, you know,
actual assets.
commodities.
Yeah.
Yeah, literal assets. Like, you know, they're commodities you can pay for.
So, like,
And-
actually, I want to bring up one thing. I used to also play a lot of Dota, like, as on par with TF2, like on par with TF2. So
Right.
I have a item right now. It's the Pudge Dragonclaw hook. And if I bring this to the marketplace, I can sell this for $436.81.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like real money?
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
Steam money.
well, no, but that's real money, especially because you can gift money on Steam.
Yeah.
So you could theoretically PayPal trade somebody.
I am actually astounded this price went up so much. My God, I'm rich. I hit gold.
There's gold in them Thar hills.
Oh man, what else do I have here? I can sell this for $15. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna start selling.
That's a dinner.
But yeah, so
Yeah, no, seriously, that'll buy you like a couple meals for the day if you're careful with it.
yeah, right. I also have another item here that's worth $16.85.
It's a month of ramen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
God.
All right, I'm in a good spot, guys. I'm in a good spot.
Really quick before we go back to what we were on, I want to like, I'm predicting it right now, like quote of the year that will be like reused in so many different like applications is the title of that original Reddit thread. Seriously, I paid $80 to have Vader lock.
Yup. That's gonna be like meme of the year.
Yeah, gaming memes and bound.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Well, I think the EA has one better, but what was it they said on Twitter? It was something about
armchair
that their consumers
devs.
were armchair
Yeah.
devs. It's like,
Yeah.
really, the people who are willing to buy 3+ copies of your game for over $100 a piece, and you're complaining that they are analyzing them?
Yeah, one of the higher ups at EA was like on Twitter quoted as saying, not even quoted, like he said it, like it was straight up him. He tweeted that like the people who were like bitching and moaning were like armchair devs and they didn't know what they were talking about. And they were
Wow.
whining.
Yeah, nobody accuses film critics of being armchair directors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and in that Reddit thread, somebody was like, "Hey, like, I don't know if he posts on Reddit, but like, can you tell him that insulting your customers is kind of a bad look and it's not a good long-term plan?" And the guy like representing EA on the thread was like, "Yeah, he doesn't use Reddit, but trust me, I'll pass it along." But
cannot for the life of me understand how it happened, but there's two industries where consumer hostility is the norm: video games and comic books.
Really,
Like,
comics?
Yeah, comic book fans, like, oh god, they
Yeah.
hate everything.
Fun.
And meanwhile, the developers of the games and the writers for the comic books, the editors, you name it, they're calling their fans racists, homophobes, bigots, and just horrible things as if they are the ones doing the oppressing. Meanwhile, these writers and other creators have the platform of putting out a book nationwide, if not globally.
Yeah.
Well then, that's news to me. I didn't know the comic book scene was that
It's
angsty.
very hostile right now.
Yeah.
I haven't bought new comic books in a while, but I still poke my head in because that was part of my childhood.
Mm.
And
Right, and you're kind of curious to see what's going on.
it's like, I can't read a modern Marvel comic nowadays. I can get some DC stuff, but it's just so unfriendly and unwelcoming.
I just know that Superman became the god of strength, Batman's the god of intelligence, and I don't know what's happening anymore.
we talked about that last week, how like comics just like up the ante way too hard for my taste.
Oh yeah, it's like, I now have the power to destroy the multiverse. Ooh.
Like, okay,
Yeah,
No one's
Batman
around
got
to
the,
notice, so-
Throne of Knowledge and was basically Bat God. Dr. Manhattan's brought back in, so now they're trying to put Doomsday, like the Doomsday arc, I forget what they're calling it, to explain the New 52, all the different multiverses in the fiction and how things got changed up. It's like, you could
somebody
just
needs
say
to
you
tell
brought on new
comic writers, explain yourself in special editions of your comic meant to explain the story. You probably wrote a confusing story.
Yeah, that's a behind the scenes thing, not an entire arc.
Yeah.
Right. And
Guys-
that's the reason why, like, I really like comics, but I can't keep up with them because there's too many, like, there's like 30 editions of like one story, and like I can't keep up with it.
I can't tell you how many times like Taylor and I have gone into like my local comic store and like everything we end up buying ends up being like a graphic novel or something that's only like a 1 or 2 off.
Yeah.
Like we look at all these superhero comics and we're like, wow, like look at his design, or she looks so badass, and like, oh
No.
it's Wonder Woman. This is gonna get annoying to read. Like, forget it.
See-
just give up.
And I think this is canon. I can be completely wrong about this, but like I heard that Spider-Man like gave up Mary Jane to the devil to save Aunt May. I was like, I don't think that's a. Wait, what?
It wouldn't even be the weirdest Spider-Man interaction with Mary Jane, because in one, I think it was Ultimate Spider-Man or something like that, she was killed by his radioactive semen.
What?
Oh yeah.
Excuse me?
I think I heard something about that. I'm not sure though, but yeah, I'm pretty sure that happened. It's not good.
Just don't be Mary Jane.
Yeah, and this isn't even Spidey's first deal with the devil, because after the first Civil War arc, he literally had to go to deal with the devil because he gave up his secret identity during the Civil War, and he made a deal with the devil so that he could get his secret identity back.
I feel
basically
like
undoing one of the biggest consequences of his actions.
he should have just been like, I'm going to be a new superhero now with the same abilities. I'm not Peter Parker, though.
like when you're one of the most like powerful entities in your world, you can't just like go off the grid and make a new identity, man. Like you're not prepared for this.
Like he has a new tech firm that's on par with Stark Industries in the continuity they're running with right now.
Really?
He probably funds the witness protection program.
Oh wait, no, that's right. He had to dissolve Parker Industries because of a scheme from Dr. Octopus.
Oh, okay. We're this. No,
it's getting too meta.
But
I go on comics. You have to stop me. Sorry.
No, it's okay. Seriously though, what was the last part of the game thing we were on?
The economy and how.
Yeah, the economy. Like, you know, having, and this is why I think Overwatch is like a pretty like okay example. You know, you have these costumes that really don't add anything to the game except literal cosmetic. And you can't trade them, you can't sell them. All you can do is buy loot boxes with the hope of getting more.
In Overwatch, can you get multiple of the same costume?
Yes, and that's when they're quote-unquote like disenchanted for gold.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, unlike,
the rates aren't very good.
There's no prevention for legendaries either, so
no
duplicates of anything are getting. And they do not scale the prices for special event costumes.
But the one thing I will say that they do, just for clarity, is last year's event costumes, when they go for sale again during the next event, they are cheaper to buy within game currently.
Yeah, but even the current ones, like if you wanted the Symmetra skin for the most recent Halloween event, it cost you $3,000 to make.
Oh,
but
yeah,
you only got, what, a 1/9 or a 1/10 of the value if you got a duplicate of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is ridiculous. I'm not defending that. I'm just clarifying for people who don't play Overwatch that if you wait a year, they have now proven across like every single event from last year that yes, the event comes back next year, and yes, you can buy the old costumes for 1/3 of the price. So
nice.
Even that, like, it's something. You know what I mean at this point? And it's one of those scenarios where, you know, is it shitty? Yes, but it sits better with me because it doesn't create an economy. There's no advantage or disadvantage. I mean, you could argue that ultimately, like, well, if you use this costume, you can hide behind a bush a little better. But I have literally, like, and I agree with that analysis, it can happen, but, like, I have never been in a real situation in a game where I went, oh, come on, god damn it, it was the turban on Zenyatta that fuck me up.
I'm gonna make this happen.
In that Spanish village with his mariachi costume, I never would have seen him coming.
Right.
Exactly, like, he blended right in with the Sugar Skulls. No, it doesn't fucking happen.
He blended in with his
life.
spray. Wow. Brilliant.
Yeah. and also, like, when you play, like, competitively, and I mean, like, for money in a tournament, not, like, comp money, they have, like, skins for you anyway. So,
at BlizzCon, just, what was that, like, last week?
Yeah, I think so.
last
week.
The Overwatch World Cups happened, and this was the premiere of it, but like Blizzard designed for each country that was competing their like own special skins based on like colors that they chose. So
that's
that
cool.
was really cool. It was very like
team and flag colors, and they like put their flags on the guns and stuff.
Yeah, it was really cool.
It was a big show of faith, but yeah, so. Other than that, the skins, like, it's literally just how do you want your fucking character to look. It doesn't give you advantages, it doesn't give you disadvantages. So we're looking at something that you can't trade them, you can't disenchant them for currency, you can't disenchant them for money. This is literally for fun. And yes, I would like to be able to...
There's no trading.
Exactly. And I would like ideally to be able to unlock them without, worrying about a random loot box or, money or anything. But if you're gonna do it, that's not a bad way to go about it.
Because then back to how it was in TF2 where you can actually make a profit off of it. I used to hang out in trade servers all day long and just trade with people. Try to get that extra value out of that one gun.
Oh, absolutely. But I'm sure there's people who think that's cool in its own right, but I don't know, man. For me, I mean, I heard this, and I don't know if it's true. Actually, hold on. My resource for this might be here. Kyle, you back there? Hi, Kyle. When we talked about World of Tanks, was that confirmed?
Sudden guest appearance.
Or was that?
A wild Kyle appears.
But we didn't. We never looked this up.
So what are you talking about?
Okay. World of Tanks is I know you're probably aware that it's notorious for money grubbing. Yeah, it's literally the only way you could possibly enjoy it is if you think wow, it's I'm really paying for my own military.
My favorite.
As we know, yeah, I would love to look this up and confirm it. You have to pay for the ammo.
There is a premium ammunition, but it is not, from my understanding, mandatory against.
Okay, it's not mandatory.
There are some tanks, however, where it is hugely impractical to fight them if you don't have the premium ammo.
That's exactly the point. It's and let's face it, if you want to win, you're going to use that tank. Because at the very least, if I'm going down, I'm taking your wallet with me. So,
what's the name of the other game that came out? So it was in a beta forever. Was it Star Citizen? Am I thinking correct? Is that the right name?
Star Citizen is a game. I don't know.
Is that the one that was
you're referring to?
I believe, if I remember the right game.
Before it came out into a playable alpha.
Yeah, so pretty much you could buy a bunch of these beyond expensive ships, and that's kind of how you show you're playing. But some of these ships are $500, I believe. I could be wrong, but
yeah.
And that's the thing. Like I said, you're no longer selling me a game. You're selling me
a model,
access to an in-game economy model. Yeah, and a lot of people say well, when does it go too far? Honestly, I don't. I try and be understanding of change, but this is one thing that I really think has no place.
I'll play devil's advocate again and go as extreme as possible if you like.
Go for it.
Go for it, dude.
That's good.
Loot boxes are inherently anti-consumer if you're looking at them from a strictly quantifiable standpoint. If you take a game like Overwatch, for example, and I played more than my fair share, I bought 2 copies of the game just between a regular and a collector's edition, $200.
I'm sorry, which game did you say?
Overwatch.
Oh, okay.
If you got even one of the overpriced Call of Duty Battlefield Premium passes for $50 for 1 year of content, that would be more cost efficient than the loot box system for Overwatch. If you're going to put in the time to unlock things, just one event for Overwatch, the only one I ever paid into was Halloween 2016.
Okay.
I spent $80 on that event, and I still had to play more to unlock everything.
Yeah, I've been in that situation as well.
Yeah, if you want to do all the Overwatch events and unlock all the content, then either you are playing that game professionally, constantly, or you are going to pay out over $300 per year on top of the entry fee because it's a paid box.
Right.
And this is on top of the fact that it's a loot system. It's not guaranteed to get you what you want. You are going to be randomly spending. It's a highly erratic system where it is randomly you get most of what you want if you pay into the system. And you are spending 6+ times more compared to the games which people are openly hostile towards for being overpriced and considered exploitative. Battlefield, Call of Duty, you name it, with their overpriced premium passes, they are charging a fraction of what Overwatch is and other Blizzard properties and other games with a paid box emulating a free-to-play economy for less content.
Wow.
Yeah, and for some additional perspective, I'm now level, in Overwatch, I'm level 700 something. I have hundreds of hours on this game, and I'm still missing at least half of the stuff from all the holiday events and the regular items that are available all of the time.
This is where I would like to throw in though that this is only now when you say like the season passes, you mean for the maps and characters and shit?
Correct. If you were to lump in the additional cosmetic items, I'll try and look it up, but it would increase the number. Yes,
that's a valid point, and again, one that's worth bringing up because if you don't say it, someone's going. But you also have to remember which really looks worse when you look at the fact that you can have a cosmetically different but gameplay-wise indistinguishable experience from somebody who paid $40 for the game and no loot boxes in Overwatch and somebody who paid thousands of dollars in loot boxes. You're playing the same game. You're playing the same map. You're playing the same character.
And said gameplay is inherently feeding into a cycle where your main rush, your purpose for playing, is the loot.
And I disagree with that because I know multiple players, a good number of them, really don't give a shit about skins. And the occasional skin they like, they earn enough through playing to unlock them. And they play the game because they like the fucking game.
But I feel like this is targeted towards a very small community of people. Because, there's a lot of people who don't really care about the skins, but there's some people who are, avid on, collecting all the skins.
Absolutely.
The biggest controversy that happened recently before EA was Guild Wars.
Yeah.
And, I was actually a big Guild Wars fan, and I haven't played in a while, but, I totally get the, need to get all of the skins in that game, because they have some really good-looking skins. And you see people flying around with them, you're like, oh man, I have to get that too. And the only way to get that is by paying a bunch of money, and it's just like a vicious cycle if you really want it.
Yeah.
I think the one thing you just have to say is to remember that this is a business enterprise and you have to vote with your... I was not happy with the way Guild Wars was going. I got bored with it as well. I didn't buy the expansion. I'm not looking forward to
EA...
fucking loot boxes. I no longer enjoy Overwatch, and I think it's overpriced for what it is. I haven't paid for a single loot box since Halloween over a year ago.
Right. I was actually very excited to give Battlefront a try. Now they're not getting my money.
Same. I was like, this looks amazing. And then all this happened.
I don't like to boil things down to, it's that easy. But it kind of is that easy in this situation. Don't buy it, and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
And I mean, I still... It should be talked about, though, because, they should know that people are noticing. And it should be noted by these companies, yes, this is why we're not buying your game. You know what I mean? Because otherwise they'll just think, oh, people don't like games anymore. They'll come up with some stupid reason.
They'll be like, oh, they don't like Star Wars. No more Star Wars games.
Yeah, and then they'll just try this again with a different theme.
Yeah.
And they'll be missing the entire point, which is I'm on 1 HP on the last boss again. God damn it. But, they'll miss the point. So I think it's... action-wise, it's as easy as voting with your wallet, and then people who care to speak out, whether it's privately, behind, a username on Reddit and saying hey, I don't like this, or however angry you want to get, or us who are doing a public podcast about it. Those are the people who have to show them hey, don't fucking do this, and people will buy your game more. It's not because people don't like Star Wars. It's not because people... And I have to look it up. Because as you can tell, I have no memory with this shit. I have to look everything up. I'm pretty sure I've seen examples of that before where people are like, wow, people must not like blank anime. It's no, you just did a shit job.
Oh, I think...
Dead Space here.
Yeah, I think it's going to be hard games. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's these are the conversations that need to happen along with voting with your wallet. And, I'm not buying into... mobile games, except for I play Puzzle and Dragons, and sometimes I will buy roles for characters, but I feel that the amount of gameplay I get out of it versus the few bucks that I put in for pulls here and there is cheaper than if they were to charge me for a full product, and it funds the game. I still don't totally like it, but if I'm on the fence about anything, I'm gonna pick, it's just one game. I don't commit to any others. I don't pay for other mobile games. I don't pay for, loot box systems in games if I don't think they're doing it at least relatively ethically. I try to avoid games with loot box systems anyway. Like, I support independent developers that I think are making really good games. You know, it's literally as easy as buy what you support.
Yeah, like, I think the one game that, like, AAA game that has their claws in me is Hearthstone. Is like,
Yeah.
I spend a lot of money on Hearthstone because I buy like the pre-purchase packs every season or every expansion.
Buy the booster boxes, so to speak.
Yeah, like the 50 packs for $50. I'm like, yeah, I want to do that because like I know like if I'm not playing a lot right now, I go through like spritz and can't speak. I go through like waves where I'm like I don't really feel like playing the game, but then like a month later I'm like, oh, I'm like back to rank 9. I'm happy.
Yeah.
Gotta get those card backs.
Yeah, also the card backs. I need all the card backs. I haven't missed one yet.
I have to say something though. Growing up, like I said, I didn't have a PC to play on. We had computers, of course.
Back in my day.
Back in my day, my PC gaming was Newgrounds.com.
We had a hamster in my computer.
But I didn't have a gaming PC. We actually tried to get games to run on some of our PCs, and we were like, "Oh, this doesn't work." So when I heard about the whole MMO model, I was like, "You're paying monthly for one game," but I didn't understand how the dynamics work because I was never exposed to it. Now I dabble in Final Fantasy XIV, and I realized two big things about MMOs. Number one, you realistically pick one that you like and you play it. You're not going to really be the kind of person, and some people do, and that's fine. But I thought it was ridiculous that you would pay for one game and like, what? That's ridiculous. But you know, I'm not going to play Final Fantasy, WoW, Elder Scrolls, all these games and pay a subscription for each of them. I'm going to pick the one that appeals to me the most. And they all have similar gameplay loops. It just depends which one you like aesthetically and, you know, which one has specifics in their gameplay that appeals to you. But the loop is still quest, party, roleplay, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I never understood that as a kid. And the other thing, I actually have come to respect the MMO model because you pay a monthly fee, but you can stop whenever you want. You can come back whenever you want. And you get whatever they put out aside from like any big expansion that's literally a new game.
Or cosmetics.
Or time roll events.
Well, right, but for the most, those are symptoms of the things we're talking about now. We're like, you know, I think Overwatch is a good game, but I think the loot box is stupid. But, you know, aside from symptoms like that, you're getting a very full gameplay experience for, you know, what, if you put in, I was talking to Taylor about it the other day, I'm like, if I paid like the 10 or, I think it's like $10 a month for Final Fantasy, if not 80. If I play it a couple hours, like 3 times a month, I get my money's worth at $1 an hour. You know, I could do far more expensive and less fun things for $1 an hour, just going out and like pretending to have fun. So I've come to appreciate that the MMO model, it funds the fact that this is a real-time world that is being maintained 24/7.
Yeah.
And I get that now. But, you know, I think that's an interesting dichotomy between something like that and loot boxes where it's like, yeah, the game's done, we just want to keep making money off you. It doesn't really fund anything. Except, I mean, I understand some companies can do it, but we're not talking a game that has to be updated 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We're talking like, come on, you're putting out a patch here and there and like character here and there. Like, the sales should drive that, not an in-game economy.
No, yeah, I agree with all that. I'm on the same boat with you where like when I was younger, I was like, wow, World of Warcraft, $20 a month? I am never going to touch that. But like...
Oh yeah, dude, Final Fantasy's cheap as hell.
But the MMO that got me was RuneScape when I was younger.
Oh, of course.
I got like 2 years into that game, played every day after school.
RuneScape Classic.
Yeah, I still remember a password for my character. Maybe one day we can go back for a special.
Oh man!
See all the one day, like was it like 3 years ago? I went back to see how the game changed. I was like, I don't understand anything anymore. Why do people have frog heads?
RuneScape's a weird beast.
It is.
I never played it, but I know it's like it's a
Yeah,
weird
same.
game.
That's where the memes come from.
Hang on 1 second.
Bye, GF.
But what were you gonna say about it hooking you and stuff?
Oh no, like I played it, and like if I want, they kind of restricted like most of the map to paying members, so you had to pay like $5 a month. But like from like the content they gave you, I felt like it was really worth it at the time. I can feel that about like most MMOs. I have to say, like a lot of them are going like, hey, we're going free to play, but now you have to pay for all this extra stuff. I don't know. It's kind of like, I know, like actually, who is it? ESO. They went buy to play, where you just buy it and it's free to play afterwards. But they also have a subscription base where they give you like free in-game currency every month as like for like, you know, supporting them every month.
Yeah, and like I think a model like that is way more appropriate because you're providing a more constant service, a more constant, you know, product, a more constantly changing product, versus here is a finished game that is going to get minimal amounts of attention, you know, post-release. Buy it, enjoy it, whatever. And I don't know, like I at the risk of sounding like I'm stuck in my certain ways, I like games that games are changing, games are interesting, you know, things are looking pretty good, but a lot of developers seem to be losing sight of what made like progression and things like that
fun.
Yeah, fun, gripping, engaging.
Or maybe that's why they just don't care. They just want money.
Well, again, that's the consumer loop versus the gameplay loop. Is they don't care. Consumers are buying.
So why not? Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe this is me being pedantic, but is there any way to separate gameplay from monetization with this, like, whole topic?
I think we have next week's topic.
Yeah.
I think that's a good, because I mean, obviously, like we talked about more than just EA, but EA was the jumping off point for all this. So I think that could be a good jumping off point.
I agree.
This is so semi unrelated. I just, like, as you guys were talking, my mind was just like going on about like gaming related stuff. I would like to talk about at some point. It obviously doesn't have to be next week, but I would really like to talk about like gaming cafes in the early 2000s.
Oh, those are fun.
Oh, hell yeah.
I'd never actually like got to go to one, but like obviously I've seen tons of like photographs, and I know people who used to go to them, and they seemed so cool. And I know like over in Asia, there's even still or like
South
going
Korea,
pretty strong.
Tay, did I tell you? You know where Mara's is?
Yeah.
That was an internet cafe.
Really? That's weird.
Yeah. It was a very weird place too.
Yeah.
I think I've been to one once before, and it was a interesting time. It was not really that much fun, to be honest, but like you just had like someone saying they had like one person sitting in the corner the whole day, and that was about it.
I'm completely in the dark on that subject. The closest I ever got was like pizzeria or bowling arcades.
I figure we'll end up talking about arcades too, but I that was the only internet cafe I think I've ever been to, and I went I think twice.
I'm already talking too much for one person one night. I shouldn't be planning for the future.
But yeah, so guys, I think this is pretty good for today's segment. We covered a lot of stuff. Does anyone have any closing statements?
Fuck EA, dude.
Yeah.
Everyone's saying it, but like, God. Shout out to fucking Roundtable Podcast for predicting this shit. Cause what was it like Eric? Was it like a couple weeks ago or like last month? They were talking about the whole like loot box thing, and I was like, this is getting pretty bad.
I think it was like actually Jim Sterling starting the whole thing. Like, hey guys, this is pretty bad. It's like,
no, not with the EA thing. Like, there. I mean
like,
it was the patent. They were talking about the patent, and that was when I was like, oh god, this is like, there's milestones where I noticed these things are ascending to next levels of terrible, and the Activision one was.
Or if they have like
the last one.
I can just see like a group of like 5 people sitting there like, how can we milk more money? I have an idea, guys. Listen to this.
Yeah, and they like just applauded.
And like he takes a bow. They throw roses.
Those Tom and Jerry movie where he has that scene. We've got to get more money. He just has one loop.
Or like it's like Rick and Morty. It was like, "Hey guys, I have an idea. But I can answer that for money."
Very true.
But yeah, so I think
if there's still time for closing remarks.
Yeah, go for
Yeah,
it.
go for it.
In EA's own words, this is my advice for them. I want to make sure I get them right. Okay, I just want to be completely earnest.
Okay.
Watch us. We think our current work reflects the very special commitment. Watch them, because this is not an isolated incident. This is the trend, and this is what they will do unless they are told, or they learn.
Yeah, we had
works.
That's foreboding.
Very dramatic, but I agree with it. Got
I probably should
I agree with all that.
earlier in there, but fuck it.
Yeah, do that in your Edgar Allan Poe voice later.
Watch us. Very special commitment.
There you go, very ominous now.
On that note, I'm getting the hell out of here.
Alright guys, it's been fun. We'll be back next week. We have very similar topics coming up and maybe some other topics that will come up during the week. But yeah,
We have dumb things planned. I'm excited for
We got the
Also dumb
EA
things.
Reddit AMA to talk about.
Oh, that's gonna be a fun one.
Yeah.
Brace yourself for
That might
downloads.
be a double episode.
Oh
Alright,
yeah.
I'll see you guys later.
It's been
All right.
fun. Your armchair devs will be back soon.